It's no surprise to see Ford here. They're an institution in motorsport and always well represented at Rallyday in Castlecoombe. This year they've sent along Matthew Wilson in the Fiesta, and we know Paul Woodford is looking forward to catching up with him.
Now Matt, the regulation changes for this year meant that the WRC cars had to be completely different, and this Fiesta World Rally car really is completely different to the Focus you had before, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, you can tell just by looking at the size is obviously the biggest thing. It's much more nimble, but also when you get to high speed it's probably a little bit more nervous. You don't have the long wheelbase that you had with the Focus, but not only that, everything underneath is very different as well. You know, the regulations change with terms of regards to like active diffs and no paddle gear shift anymore, all them things like that. So it's a very, very different car to what it used to be. Yeah.
And the cars themselves have mirrored the trends in actual car sales, haven't they, with the 1.6 litre turbocharged engines compared to the 2 litre we had before?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was one of the big reasons for going to it, and also as well is to cut the cost. This car is probably, you know, 3/4 of the price of what the Focus was, if not a little bit less. So that was one thing, and obviously the idea was to try and get more manufacturers with the costs that have cut, and I think that's worked. You know, we've seen Mini coming in, Volkswagen coming in, so I think it's made it more exciting as well. They're probably a little bit more spectacular. There's not as much technology in them, so you maybe drive them a little bit more sideways. So yeah, I think on the whole it's been a really good move.
The new regulations have made the championship exciting, and of course in Australia you equalled your best finish so far with the 4th place, and it was a great event for Ford, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it was much needed. It come at a really good time, I think, but they've definitely spiced up the events as well. I mean, like you said, I mean, Jordan was separated by 0.2 of a second, Finland I think 7 or 8 seconds at the end, so there's been some really, really close rallies. Unfortunately the wrong way around for Ford, but yeah, I think it's made it really, really exciting, yeah, to be honest.
Right, well, we'll climb inside and you can show me around this Fiesta World Rally car.
Yeah, no problem.
Now Matt, the first thing you notice sat in this car is just how far back everything is, and rally cars over the last 10 years have been further and further back. Just explain to us why that's the case.
I think a lot of it is the safety side, obviously. The further back that you are, you know, closer behind the pillar in the middle, and also in from the side as well, the more chance you have in terms of an accident. But also it's weight distribution as well. The further back and the more into the middle of the car that you can get the driver and co-driver, obviously it's better for the weight distribution. So yeah, that's the idea. So there's a couple of things. It's obviously the safety and that side of it as well, and just, you know, engineering ideas have changed over the years, and things have, you know, theories have moved on, and I think you end up seeing very different cars to what you did, you know, 10 years ago. I mean, the Focus, everything used to be, like you say, way back here, and all the switches were up high. Everything now is down on the floor, and there
are a lot less switches. Looking down here, I remember sat in the Focus last year, there were switches everywhere, consoles with switches on. Now you've got this one console.
Yeah, that's our, you know, philosophy, is to try and cut down on anything that really doesn't need to be there, and like I said before, is the weight down as low as possible. I mean, if you look up here, there's nothing, you know, anything of any significance up high. So the idea is to get everything as low as possible.
So you sat in this car, and the co-driver is sat as low as I am now, a lot further back, a lot lower than you are, again for weight distribution. And they've really got to feel their way, haven't they? If you're sat in a Vauxhall Nova doing a national event, you can see the road, you can see what's happening. But in this, you really have to feel what you're doing and read the pace notes in accordance with that, don't you? Yeah,
definitely. And I think if you ask any co-driver at that real top level, they actually prefer not to see, and they prefer not to look out. As you know, when you start to look up, it can probably distract them and lose their place, and like you said, they do everything literally through the seat of your pants, really, and through feeling. So yeah, I think obviously Scott, he likes to be as low and as far back as possible, and really just not see over the dash if he can.
So how have these new cars changed the way you have to do things? Have they changed the way you have to do an event? Have they changed some of the habitual ways that you might have done a rally in the past?
No, not massively. I mean, obviously they're a bit more physical. We can't just sit here and flick the paddle anymore. There's actually a little bit more to do. Probably a little bit more aggressive to drive because you don't have any active diff. So you literally throwing the car around a little bit more. But no, in terms of everything else, it's very, very similar. You know, the chassis, the design idea in terms of the chassis and everything is very similar to what the Focus was, but trying to package it in a smaller car. So yeah, one big difference I suppose really is going from a 5-speed gearbox to a 6. That alters sometimes your pace notes a little bit and the way that you attack the corner. But other than that, it's very similar.
Now, here we are at Rallyday. A couple of years ago, you were back here with the Focus, and you must be seeing the extra interest because it's the first time a lot of people have had a chance to see these new cars.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we haven't competed with this car yet in the UK. We're a couple of months away from Rally GB, and I think this is the first chance, like you say, that people have been able to really see this new car and actually see it in action. So, yeah, it's good to have it here, and I think it's created definitely a lot of interest.
Well, it's definitely great to have you back here with the Ford team, so thank you, and we'll hopefully go back in the car later.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much.
Well, here we go, Matt. We were talking about how physical these cars are compared to the last few World Rally cars you've driven, and you've got a big smile on your face after these runs you've been doing, so I'm looking forward to a good show.
Yeah, it should be good fun. Should be good fun. Yeah, it's not so physical here, but fairly slippy. We're on rock hard gravel tyres on tarmac, which is wet, so it's never the easiest, but it's good fun. Up to 4th gear, just starting to brake for this first hairpin. Just cut the grass a little bit. Maybe not meant to do that, turn there. So as much side days as we can. That's the order of the day, I think. Donut area now, and last flip for the crowd.
I honestly feel like I should be in a Ken Block gym video with that bit of display just there.
Hopefully you enjoyed it.
That was fantastic, thank you very much. You were talking about how physical these cars are, but I mean, compared to a road car that people might be used to driving, you wouldn't be able to be that sideways and that precision.
No, it would be physically impossible to do that in a road car. So, you know, it just shows how good this actual, you know, well, it comes from the chassis, but obviously the whole package, and it allows you to be a bit of a hooligan like that.
So, we launched off the start there. To me, that was like a launch. To you, was that a proper stage launch?
Yeah, I mean it's basically what we have on the rally. Yeah, but obviously you'd have a little bit more grip normally. You'll have different tyres for the condition, but yeah, that's basically in effect what we would do on a competitive stage start.
I'm also noticing how warm it is inside this car, and we've just literally done a 3-minute session on a track.
Yeah, it's
just having some fun. So after a stage on, you know, after Australia, for example, after having done a however many kilometre stage, it must get so physical in the car with the heat.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you're not getting a massive amount of airflow. Obviously, you've got these 3 vents, but that's it. And And here as well, you imagine it's not really too hot outside, and obviously you've got all the kit on, and it really does take its toll on like events like.
In the olden days, I remember, and some of the people watching at home will remember seeing people like Colin McRae and Richard Burns with short sleeves on some of the warmer rallies. Is that something you can still do?
No, obviously not. None of that anymore. 3-layer Nomex suit, Nomex underwear, gloves, balaclava. So the days of shorts and t-shirt have long gone.
And
so
there's no let up even when it's hot.
No, and I think that's the thing is, that's where the real physical aspect of of training coming in, and if you can be prepared for it, then you're going to be much better prepared.
And there is a big emphasis on that as well, isn't it? You really are athletes, aren't you, rather than just
definitely.
drivers?
I mean, you experience well. You can feel how it is in here, and in Greece we've recorded actually 60 degrees in here, which is close to sauna temperatures.
Yeah, that's
so
really hot.
So
you're working hard in that heat.
Yeah, exactly. And the more alert you are, then obviously the better you're going to do. And sustaining that over 3 days, it makes a big difference.
You've got to concentrate. Do you have systems for water in the seats?
Yeah, we have like a Camelback idea which brings the water in. But in terms of the airflow, you're only restricted to these 3 vents.
And I can't get across to you just how hot it is in this car just sitting here, and that's just engine heat, isn't it?
Yeah, just standing now.
It feels like you're sat in a road car with the heaters on full blast and hot.
Full whack, yeah.
Yeah, it really is incredible how hot it is in here. Well, thank you for that experience. It really has brought home just how agile these cars are.
Yeah, no, hopefully it's let everyone see.
And you were doing me the favour, but you were having just as much fun as I was.
I definitely was.
Thank you for that.
Cheers, thank you.